Super Crate Box was the first game released by Vlambeer Studios. It was made with Game Maker Studio, came out in 2010, and is now available on iOS and Steam. It is currently one of the most popular free Steam games available and has received praise from game critics since its beginning. So then the question is, why is this indie game so popular? The first quality of this game a first-time player will notice is its straightforward nature. After about 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay, an understanding of the game is essentially complete. The combat system, movement, scoring, and progression are explained through simple message menus and a tutorial. There is long-term progression. There are 3 levels, and you can only play the last 2 by unlocking them, and there are skins you can unlock by getting various achievements, but this doesn't amount to much. The level gameplay can be described as short-term or inconsequential. The art for this game is retro, which is fairly typical of its genre, and for the most part it's pleasing. However, several features of it make it seem like the art is one of the game's most lacking features. The menus are just basic rectangles with text over an image that has no apparent value to the game, and the sprite for the larger enemies looks pretty sick, but the smaller enemies comprise of so few pixels that it's pretty hard to make out exactly what they are. So, all in all, the player's introduction to the game is unappealing at worst and unique at best. The gameplay in Super Crate Box is its best feature, and for this small game, it has a lot more to it than meets the eye. Firstly, the gameplay feels exactly like a mobile time waster app, which explains the release of the game on iOS. It is also important to note that there is no narrative to the game. Upon starting, the player is simply dropped down into an arcade-style adventure. There are 6 types of enemies in a level. Basic enemies, floating ghost-like enemies, sized-up enemies, and all 3 of these enemies powered-up counterparts. We'll dive more into powering up later. The goal, and only goal, of every level is to collect as many crates as you can before you die. This is the only metric the game includes to determine how well a player has done in a level. During the level, enemies will fall from the top of the screen every 2 seconds or so in varying numbers, and if these enemies are not killed before falling to the bottom of the screen, they respawn as powered-up versions of themselves, now with extra speed and angry noises. Now, the genius of Super Crate Box comes in with the weapon system. There are 13 weapons that can be used in a level, each with different abilities. There are standard shooter weapons, like the shotgun, revolver, machine gun, and bazooka, but there are also unconventional weapons, such as mines, katanas, and a disc launcher, which is a giant double-edged sword. Metaphorically, of course, the katana is the only weapon that's any sort of sword. Here's the trick though. Each time the player collects a new crate box, which is the only way to progress through a level, a new weapon is randomly given to them. Now when you combine a scoring system based on switching out a random weapon and a chaotic and diverse arsenal, you achieve chaos that is in perfect balance for the player. There's no need to fine-tune the balance of weapons in Super Crate Box because every weapon received is temporary if the player wants to progress. And there lies the brilliance. The driving force of gameplay is pure necessity for the player. The player isn't told to play by the rules are determined by the player's drive to win. Want to hang on to that overpowered weapon? Sure thing, just remember that all your kills count towards nothing. Want to skip killing enemies and go straight to getting those crate boxes? No one's going to stop you, you're just going to get an endless stream of powered up enemies. The concept of implicitly balanced gameplay was very intriguing to me. I hope to find this quality in other games in the future. Despite its popularity, there were some glaring problems with this game. Either the sprite for pistols in this game are a few black pixels, or the image isn't working properly. I really can't tell. If the case is the former, then the pistols stand out in a bad way from the rest of the level art. Even if the small enemies look off, the majority of the art really does look nice, so it's unfortunate that the most basic weapon stands out like this. Simply put, the menu controls are clunky and unintuitive. Selecting the character skin alone is a bit of a struggle, and the customization menu gives the impression that you can select your weapon permanently, which of course is completely wrong. Finally, the controls in this game are inconveniently placed on the keyboard, and they are unremappable. On top of all this, the pause button literally does not work. You press P, a menu pops up, and then it disappears the second that it does. As for me, I didn't enjoy this game as much as I would have hoped. The game is a straightforward, streamlined arcade game, and if you don't like the gameplay, it's hard to have fun. Although, to be fair, I was supremely bad, as in horrifically bad, at this game. Despite this, I'm still very glad I was able to find and play this game.